All right, everyone. I'm really excited to share my client Shaun's journey with you all. Shaun and myself have been working together for 12 months now, and he's just finished the program. So he's finished up 12 months working with the online program. So, Shaun, welcome to the show, and thank you for spending time out of your evening to share your experience with us all.
It's my pleasure, mate. It's good to catch up with you again. Thanks for the opportunity.
No problem. So, why don't you maybe tell people a bit about yourself, who you are, where you're based, a bit more about where you are in the world as well?
Yeah. So my name's Shaun. I'm a clinical psychologist. I live in North Queensland, in Australia, and father of two, husband, and ex sportsman in my younger days. I'm 54 now, so that's what I do for a living these days, and it involves a lot of sitting and sedentary time. So that was part of the picture when I contacted you.
Yeah. So let's kind of rewind back to, let's say, January, February, March 2021, and maybe
Mm.
even, the years before then. But what position were you in physically before joining the program, and what kind of motivated you to reach out back then?
Yeah, look, I was, a year younger. I was 53, not in bad physical shape overall, but there were two issues that were really um, that I was struggling with, and one of them was strength, mostly in the lower back and a little bit sort of upper back as well, which we spoke about. But just for the record, I've had this sort of long-standing upper back neck injury as well. So there was that spinal thing going on, which was a sort of a weakness. And the other thing that was an issue for me was, an increasing inflexibility and stiffness as I get older. So they were that was, I mean, my health was pretty good. My physical health wasn't too bad, but I wasn't happy with the trajectory of both of those things. Both those things were like, yeah, I shouldn't quite be this stiff at this age, and I should have a little bit more strength at this age, were my thoughts.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that lower back in particular, but also some issues around the upper back and overall the
Yeah.
flexibility. So you felt that you wanted to get this stuff addressed before it got out of hand.
Yeah, and I think it was starting to get out of hand, actually. But I wanted to, the trajectory had started to sort of decline, and I just ended up, but it only started to in the previous few years, and I just knew I wanted to turn that around and start heading in the right direction again.
Were there any specific issues that you felt were occurring that made you think that it was on the decline?
Yeah, I mean, I was consistently having what I would call my back going out, which was really, I've learned subsequently, is just not enough strength. So when my back went out, I would then be sort of limping and looking for the end of the day so I could lie down horizontally. But I'd be in constant just discomfort. The pain wasn't bad by any means, but it was just this constant low level pain and discomfort, either when I was sitting or walking or moving. So that sort of the lack of strength stuff. And in terms of the flexibility, I just took a long time to get up from the floor. If I was sitting or lying on the floor with my family or watching a movie or something like that, they were the two things that I would notice.
Yeah. Okay. And then were there any areas in particular you were a bit skeptical about, unsure about before signing up with the program? Because it is like an online program. I wasn't in Townsville. Any sorts of things that were going through your head before you actually got into it?
Yeah, look, the main one for me, mate, and I've mentioned this to you a couple of times over the last 12 months, but I'm pretty independent and judicious in terms of who I work with. Um, and I guess I thought, let's see if this fellow Connor is able to treat me like an independent, reasonably high functioning sort of an adult, and work with me at that level. I I'd read your sort of your qualifications, and I knew that you'd most likely know your onions in terms of the work. But my query was, will I be able to work with you in terms of that personality stuff, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And just being met where you're at with everything and how you like
Yeah.
to do things. Right. And were there any specific breakthroughs you had during the program, maybe early days? I know there were some flare ups. You can maybe talk about that. So, any breakthroughs you want to talk about as well?
Look, in early days, because I was so weak in my body, and because I made a classic error that I've made once or twice before. I'd used heat rather than ice at the wrong time, and I should have known better. But as you remember, I was particularly, my body was struggling with the very graded exercises that you'd given me, and I put some heat on it, thinking that that might help me along, and actually uh, it exacerbated things and made them worse for a period of time. But you and I worked through that over the next weeks, and again, you met me where I was at and where I needed to be. So that was the early sort of um, hurdles. In terms of breakthroughs, I mean, I've just found this is a I found myself getting slowly stronger and more flexible over the last 12 months. And I'll give you a measurable example. For the last 10 years, maybe longer, I've had a regular 3 to 4 week massage of my upper back, lower back as well. But if I don't get that, I'll often get sort of cramps and stiff in my upper back and neck region, just with a combination of uh, my schedule and my masseuse's schedule over the Christmas break. I think I went about 8 weeks. I just could never have done that before. And so I was conscious, well, that's different. I here I am in Christmas just gone, so 3 months ago, and I've traversed this 8 week space of time where I would never have been able to do that previously. So that's one example of how I've improved. There's others as well, but it's a good example, I think.
Yeah, yeah. It's always nice when you can feel it in the real world, outside of training or whatever. And in the past, so after 3 or 4 weeks, you'd be ready to kind of get your massage, feeling like the body needs it. And now, after 8 weeks, you were fine, or you were able to kind of
That's
self manage, which is fantastic.
It's exactly, yeah.
So you've been with me for a year. Do you want to talk about maybe some of the results you've experienced? And again, what I love about it is that you're out by yourself now, and you're autonomous. You're able to
Mm.
fish yourself basically, which I think is really important as well.
Yeah, look, firstly, it's been fun, like I enjoy the mat, the roller, the various other bits, and the ball under my backside, the various other bits and pieces and it's been really simple for me to incorporate those things into my daily or 3 weekly routine. It's been for me. Um, so yeah, in terms of other things I've achieved, um, I I do feel a lot stronger in my core, like that lower back, belly sort of region. I'm definitely a lot stronger there. This sounds really strange, but I can just get up a lot quicker, So at work, I do switch between a traditional couch that I sit on when I sit opposite my clients, and I've also got a meditation mat, which is exactly immediately adjacent to that. So I used to have to switch from couch down to meditation mat, where I would do this sort of squatting with my heels under my buttocks, that sitting position. I actually haven't been doing that for the last 6 months because I've found that I've been able to just sit on the couch as I need to. But when I used to use it in more recent times, I could get up from that much quicker and with a lot less stiffness than I used to.
Yeah. So you can just feel it day to day. You have a routine that you enjoy following, which is massive. And you can also feel that you can sit in positions like on the couch for longer without being physically compromised, and overall you just feel more mobile, being able to kind of move through your life with more ease.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, great. Is there any other, I guess, results or anything else you want to share before we go into the next question?
They're probably the main things I'd say, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So, who would you recommend the program for? Who would you think would be a good fit, and maybe who do you think wouldn't be an ideal fit for the program?
Yeah, okay. Look, I'll give a bit of history. I played a lot of AFL footy when I was younger, right from 10 through to 25. So 15 years of footy, and cricket from sort of 12 through to 27. So probably 15 years of cricket, and it was a wicketkeeper batsman when I played cricket. So a lot of crouching up and down, that repetitive stuff. Um, I I would recommend it for. I mean, it's just worked so well for me. I'm a middle-aged bloke who was stiffening up and losing strength. So that's a pretty broad demographic, but that's who I'd recommend it to. Not necessarily just blokes, but that middle-aged, losing strength, losing flexibility demographic. And in terms of, I think I guess too, another point, Connor, would be because it's online. I mean, I'm pretty disciplined. We had that conversation in early days. If you're not disciplined and not able to sort of commit to doing what you need to do, well, maybe the online route's not for you. Maybe you need to, join a gym or join, a fitness class or something like that, so that there's that social element to it as well. That's not really how I work. I knew what I needed. You gave me the specific skills and the exercises, with the video platform, which was fabulous, by the way. You remember me saying I'm not that fond of video platform, and but it was actually really easy, and it was good to be able to have it to refer to. So there's a couple of points, mate. I think the people that it would be good for are those middle-aged people who are losing flexibility and strength. Maybe not so good if you require the motivation of others around you.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think it's important to reiterate that as well. So, yeah, if you are feeling basically like you said at the start of the call, if you're just feeling like your back maybe is going out consistently, or you kind of need 3 or 4 weeks, and then you need to get a massage, you want to just offset all of those things that are quite fixable, really, by building strength, improving your flexibility with structured mobility and strength training. But it is an online program, so if you feel like you kind of need someone to support you a bit more, then it mightn't be the best step. The in person, having that coach or that space to go into with other people might be a better option if you are in that position as well. So I'm glad that you touched on both of those points, mate. And yeah, I just really appreciate you jumping on today. And also, it's just been a pleasure working with you over the last 12 months as well. And yeah, the biggest thing for me is that you are really confident and you feel like you can do it yourself now. That's my number one job as a coach.
Yeah, I probably should have. I mean, that's absolutely true. I'm not sure if I've been clear enough on that, but you've taught me a bunch of exercises and skills and strategies that I now incorporate into a 30-minute routine 2 to 3 times a week. I'm faithful to that routine. I can do it independently, and yeah, I really appreciated the way that you encouraged my independence and met me at my level, which was sort of, that adult learning style, if that's what you want to call it, that sort of mature level. I really appreciated that, Connor. So thank you. It was been a great experience from my end.
Fantastic, mate. And that is